Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a how to do blank eyeshadow. We're in quarantine and you're probably thinking of like so many things to do, so why not learn how to do eyeshadow? That's a nice thing to do. That's something you can put on your... Pardon?
How to learn how to cut crease.
It'll be included in that as well. I'm thinking of splitting this video into, this video into parts. So this would be part 1 because it has come to my attention that a lot of people would like to learn specific things. So this part 1 will be how to do a, let's say, a neutral cut crease.
My forehead doesn't reach that far. The forehead makes crazy.
I'm adding that. Start off this eyeshadow look. We are going to start off with the eyeshadow base. So when it's neutral looks, I like to do my concealer, so like one that's either a shade lighter than you or one that matches your skin tone, and then I like to take a lighter base concealer, primer, whatever you want to say. So this is white concealer, or I like to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye base, and I like to mix the two together so the colors can show up, but it's not like a very stark difference between your skin tone, if that makes sense. So I just concealed my brows using the mixture. Now we're gonna prime our eyelids. I like to blend with my finger, or sometimes I like to use this Morphe M173 brush. Okay, so for this look, I'm going to be jumping into the Morphe 18T palette. This video is not sponsored, but I do have a code with them, GlamFam547. You can get $5 off any purchase, $10 or more, so I'm just putting it out there. I don't get any money, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to do a neutral cut crease, whatnot. We're going to start off with a shade that resembles our natural everyday color, or something that's close to your, something that's close to your everyday color. I'm gonna go in this shade right here. We're gonna use that as our transition shade. For a transition shade, I like to blend it in this area that I'm doing right here. So above my crease, just right over here. And you're gonna do swiveling motion. Some people like to pat it and then start blending. It's really your preference what you like to do, but I just like to swivel it. And if you don't really, if like say you have a palette and it doesn't have that specific brown that's close to you, you can also take your face powder. I'm using the one by Sephora, and just do the same thing. Just get the powder and then put it above your crease as your transition shade. Now we're just gonna go deeper. So the next shade will be your contour shade. So I'm gonna pick this and we're gonna put it right below, into the crease, not above the crease, but into the crease. And we're gonna make a gradient, so when we cut the crease, all the browns that we blended in still show up, because you wouldn't want to do all that work for nothing. Now we're gonna go even deeper. I'm gonna be taking this really dark chocolate shade right here and putting that where I just placed the last color. But again, still keeping that gradient. And I'm trying to go above where my crease is, so where my eye folds right here, I'm trying to bring it up higher, because I usually like to cut my crease higher than where my eye naturally folds. So we're just gonna go back and forth between the shades that we already placed on the lid, and we're going to blend them out. So right now I'm taking my Sephora powder and just blending, especially over here. I don't want like a really stark contrast between the primer and then my foundation when I put it on. Now we're gonna move on to concealer. So you can either take, again, your concealer that matches your, or like a one shade lighter than you. You can mix it with your light bases. Let's use the light bases because I think it'll be easier to see what I'm doing. So for cut creases, there's different brushes you can use. Specifically, I like to use this brush right here. And one trick that I like to do is I like to place the concealer on my lid here, look up, and wherever it transferred is where I basically cut the crease. And I'm just gonna stop it here. And you're just gonna fill it in. Now people do this, but the problem I have with this is sometimes if I'm gonna put like color on the lid, you can't really see if I look up. So I like to go above where my eyes naturally fold. So this is basically how high I like to cut my crease. So from what I just showed you to like what I prefer, it's obviously a major difference, but this is just how I like to use my to do my cut creases, which is why I recommend blending those shadows a little higher than when your eye naturally folds, because when you're cutting the crease you don't want to like basically erase all the hard work you just put into blending the eyeshadow. So just patting in the concealer, especially the ends, because when there's unblended concealer and you're trying to blend the shadow, it can look patchy towards the end. So just pat it down. You could use a brush or you can use a finger. See the difference between how I like to do it and then how like when my eye naturally folds. The deep brown shade that we use, that chocolate shade, this one, and we're going to blend in the outer portion of the cut crease. I'm gonna be taking this shade. It's kind of like a describe this shade, Wendy.
It looks like a MAC Seattle.
Like in terms of color, if you own MAC Seattle then you would know, but I don't, so yeah. I'm gonna set the first third, I guess, or the inner part of the cut crease using the dupe for the MAC Seattle shade.
I don't really think that's MAC Seattle.
I like to use the brush that I use to do this part because it's really good for packing and it can go in that really tight spot over here. Putting that in the middle of my lid. We're going to be taking the shade we used to blend out that corner and blend it out again because we packed shadow there. And we're making a gradient, a really nice chocolatey, soft, neutral, whatever you want to call this, gradient. Just wanted to come back on here to show you guys my face and why it's important with mixing your concealer with an eyeshadow base, because when I blend my foundation, and I do it quite messily, so it's not a really stark contrast. Like I could obviously blend that, and then when you're blending your eyeshadow, this is why I like to blend the base past my eyebrows and then really focus like the shadows over here as well, so that when I blend my foundation it's not a harsh contrast. Like you can't differentiate where like the eyeshadow base starts or where my base begins. Like it just blends in there. Also take your face powder and get that same brush you used as your transition shade and just buff it in here so it looks very seamless and blended into your skin. So now we're just going to be doing under eye. I just placed some powder underneath to catch any fallout. So for the under eye or the waterline, you're just going to be applying everything you applied on the lid just on your lower lash. So we're going to start in I guess opposite directions. We're going to go with the deepest shade first. And then for my inner corner, I usually just go with something really pigmented, so I can either use the pigment that I previously showed you, or any of the shimmers in your palette and then place it right here, right in the inner corner. This is the finished look. I just added a nude pencil in the waterline and I did a little liner to blend my lashes, but this is how I do my neutral cut creases, or this is how to do a neutral cut crease. As I said before, blending in using like a base that's closer to your concealer shade really helped blending in the eyeshadow, and then using the setting powder or the shade closest to your skin tone really helped the edges over here, because it's like very seamless. You can barely like tell that there's like a difference, I guess you can say. This is part 1. Part 2 is probably gonna be, what should part 2 be?
Dramatic cut crease.
A dramatic cut crease. I like that. A dramatic cut crease. Part 2 will be how to do a dramatic cut crease. It most likely will be colorful, so I probably will be talking about how to blend colorful eyeshadow. I really do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. But like, I really look good.